What really happens when you die? Not what religion promises, not what films imagine. What can we actually observe? And where does the evidence end? We often imagine death as a single instant. Biologically, it is a process. Clinical cardiac arrest begins when the heart can no longer circulate blood effectively. The person becomes unresponsive, normal breathing stops, and oxygen delivery collapses. Yet for a short period, some tissues remain viable. That is why cardiopulmonary resuscitation, defibrillation, cooling, and intensive care can sometimes reverse what once looked final. The brain has enormous energy demands and stores little fuel. When circulation stops, organized function deteriorates rapidly. Consciousness is generally lost within seconds. Electrical patterns change, reflexes disappear, and cells struggle to maintain their chemical balance. But the exact sequence varies with temperature, health, cause of arrest, and whether CPR moves some blood. A stopped heart and irreversible death are not automatically the same moment. Medicine uses more than one pathway to determine death. Circulatory death requires permanent loss of circulation and breathing. Brain death requires the irreversible loss of all brain function, including the brain stem, confirmed through strict testing and the exclusion of reversible causes. A ventilator may keep the chest moving and organs supplied with oxygen, but it cannot restore a brain that has irreversibly ceased functioning. Animal experiments and a small number of human recordings have found bursts of organized or high-frequency brain activity around cardiac arrest. During AWARE-2, researchers also observed EEG patterns associated with network-level cognitive activity during some prolonged resuscitations, as late as 35 to 60 minutes into CPR. That sounds extraordinary, but CPR was still supplying some blood, the recordings were intermittent, and electrical activity alone cannot tell us whether a person was conscious. People revived after cardiac arrest sometimes describe vivid experiences: unusual peace, a tunnel or light, separation from the body, encounters with deceased relatives, or a rapid review of life. Reviews find widely varying rates because studies use different definitions and interview methods. These reports should not be dismissed. They can be coherent, memorable, and life-changing. But every report comes from someone who survived, not from someone confirmed irreversibly dead. The 2023 AWARE-2 study followed 567 in-hospital cardiac arrests. 53 people survived and 28 completed interviews. 11 described memories or perceptions suggesting consciousness. 6 reported a transcendent recalled experience of death. Researchers placed visual targets where they could theoretically be seen from an out-of-body viewpoint. Nobody identified the image. One person identified the auditory stimulus. The study supports the possibility of cognitive activity during resuscitation, but it did not prove consciousness leaving the body. Several mechanisms may contribute. Falling oxygen and changing carbon dioxide can disturb perception. Loss of normal inhibition may release unusual patterns of activity. Tunnel vision may reflect disrupted processing in the visual system. The brain can blend memory, expectation, medication, delirium, and dreamlike imagery into a convincing story. Experiences might also be encoded as the brain recovers, while the person later remembers them as occurring during the arrest. No single mechanism yet explains every report. Some researchers and experiencers argue that unusually lucid reports, apparently accurate observations, or experiences during severely impaired brain function suggest consciousness might not be fully produced by the brain. This is a philosophical and scientific possibility, not an established result. Hidden target experiments have not produced convincing confirmation. Sample sizes are small, timing is uncertain, and memory can change after recovery. At present, there is no reliable evidence that personal consciousness survives irreversible brain death. After circulation permanently stops, the body gradually cools toward its surroundings. Blood settles under gravity, producing lividity. Muscles first relax, then stiffen as cellular energy is exhausted, producing rigor mortis. Enzymes begin breaking down cells. Bacteria, especially from the intestines, spread and contribute to decomposition. Temperature, environment, illness, and treatment can change the timing, so forensic estimates are always ranges, not a perfect clock. Here is the boundary. Science can measure circulation, oxygen, reflexes, electrical activity, cellular failure, and decomposition. It can interview survivors and compare their reports. It cannot obtain a report after irreversible death. So near-death experiences are evidence that remarkable experiences can occur around resuscitation. They are not direct evidence of an afterlife. The honest conclusion is not that nothing follows, or that something certainly does. It is that the question remains unanswered. If you enjoyed this investigation, please like and subscribe to Annie Stories for more evidence-led stories.